Hey y'all. Yes, I'm back. Okay, I know it's been a minute since I've been on this channel. Y'all have to be patient. Y'all know I come over here when I feel like it. So welcome, Ashira Goddess channel. Yes. Don't ask me no questions about no dust on this channel. I will go back to my other one. Okay. Letting y'all know that from the beginning. Sprinkle, sprinkle. Okay. So what are we going to talk about today? I know a lot of y'all are like, why are all these influencers, or why did all these influencers suddenly jump on the Christianity bandwagon? And why were they this? And then they turned to that and this, and that. And why wasn't it just people in general, but mostly just influencers? You know what I mean? Let me tell you why. Because I know the tea, because I have been on YouTube and social media for over a decade, and I've seen it happen a couple of times, and I'm going to tell you what happens. Is y'all ready? Y'all ready for this tea? Sprinkle, sprinkle. So, what happens is a lot of people start getting harassed and they start getting bullied and then they start getting gang stalked and then they start getting like harassed and making it seem demonic. Okay. And so the poor little influencers that don't have enough of the knowledge, they run back to religion because they're scared. Okay. They didn't have enough information. They didn't have enough divinity within them. They didn't know enough history. They didn't understand a lot of the technology that they have out there now. They didn't know a lot of this stuff. And so it probably really scared them into fearing whatever it is that uh, a lot of people were trying to put out there, so that massive amounts of influencers will be scared back into Christianity to push Christianity back on their influencers to get them back in church and giving them tithes and offerings, because they've been giving the tithes and offerings to influencers and they're not going to church no more. They're finding divinity within, they're going on the spirituality path. Okay. So a lot of these people get the fear put back into them, or they get contracts. Okay. Because see, a lot of people started off as Christian. And so that fear is deep rooted within them already because they were brainwashed since children. So they can use that as a form of psychological warfare, bullying, gang stalking, blah, 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 blah. And they will do that until you turn back. They tried to do it with me. That's how I know. I just laughed. I was like, I don't think so. I'm not going to be part of a patriarchal religion. Now, we could talk about Mary. We could talk about goddesses. We can talk about mother, but we will not be talking about no patriarchal rib reproducing religion up in here. You cannot scare me back. I know too much. I've studied too much. I've read too many books. I never believed it in the first place. That's why they could never get me to go back to Christianity. I was never a Christian in the first place. I was pretending to believe that mess that was pushed on me that didn't make any type of sense. I literally chalked it up as metaphor, plagiarism from ancient historical pagan religions that actually had a goddess in them. Okay, so it was very hard for me to be forced or gang stalked or bullied back into a religion that I never really believed in the first place. Okay, so that's why a lot of the influencers went back. And I know this for a fact because I talked to some of them and they were so scared. They thought they were going cuckoo. There's demons. Girl, that's the algorithm. Girl, that's a gang stalker. Girl, that's that's the people trying to mess with you, girl. So yes, girl. If a lot, and they usually pick on women because women are like, if you notice, it's not a big influx of men. that were forced back into Christianity. It was mostly women because they pick on women and scare women. Some women have children, some women fear for their safety, some women, so they pick on women because they know the true religion is a woman. And so they're trying to push y'all back into the patriarchal religion by targeting, bullying, and gang stalking women who are massive influencers who are not promoting Christianity, but maybe something else. And they're trying to scare them back into it so they can scare y'all back into it. But it didn't work on me. I was laughing the whole time. I was literally trolling people back. Like, so this is why you see a lot of these influencers. And sometimes and they lose a lot of followers as well, which is sad because a lot of these influencers who were scared back into Christianity, they lost a lot of their followers because no one still wants to accept a patriarchal religion when the proof is right here on earth as a living goddess, So a lot of people try to push you back into Christianity. And a lot of people went back. Now they're all about Jesus and all this kind of stuff. It was hilarious. But it didn't work over here because I never believed it in the first place. So you can't scare somebody into something that they never believed in the first place. Yeah. You said you almost fell for it too? Girl, don't fall for that okie doke. They just want their tithes and offerings back and their patriarchal belief system back in place so you could do what you're told without questioning it. Okay? We ain't gonna do that over here. Because we do what we do over here is we just talk and discuss. And I don't discriminate against anybody's religion. I don't care. I don't care enough about it to discriminate. Worship who you want. And you ever notice that most spiritual people don't try to convert religious people into spirituality? They don't care enough. But religious people try to convert other people into their religion. And they don't even care. They just want you to be miserable like they are. Because you're too free. You're having too much fun. You're thinking too many thoughts. You're striving and, having lots of prosperity and abundance. And they can't figure out why. So they want to bring you back over there. No, it's too good over here. All right? You said exactly. It's too good over here. You said from contacting the aliens to praying to Jesus. Exactly, girl. We're going to talk. I'd rather talk some aliens. How you doing? Okay. Honestly. And if you really do believe the Bible or history in it, Jesus was not even a religion. He was a person that got persecuted because of his spirituality. And he still didn't turn back. Okay? He said, forget y'all. So, you know what? Remember, yes, anything that's trying to be forced on you, there's something wrong with it, baby. Something absolutely wrong with it. If it's being forced on you through fear, I don't want it, baby. You can keep it. All right? Also, virtue signaling. Huh? Did what? Okay. Well, I don't know. I don't keep track of everybody, but I think it's hilarious because, I can give you a little details that these people would do just in case if you're an influencer and it starts happening to you, you know the signs. You can say, oh, girl, she already told me I'm up on game. They'll start sending you weird emails. They'll start um, calling, they'll start harassing you online, then they'll start talking about Jesus or the devil or demons and trying to scare you about stuff, or they'll put stuff like on your feed or in your algorithm, or they'll send you stuff or whatever, whatever. But it just don't work. And they'll try to go through some of your family members, or they'll try to call them, or they'll just do stupid stuff, right? Thinking, "Oh, I better repent. This is happening because I'm not Christian." They'll just try to force you back into Christianity, thinking that's the only logical thing that's happening. "Oh, I must be being punished by God. This is what it talks like in the Bible when you're being punished." I just laugh at it and be like, I'm too mentally, spiritually, superiority complexed goddess mindset for that to work on me. I'll just be laughing and be like, what are they doing? Don't they know they're wasting their time over here? This might work on somebody, but not me. Didn't work on me. And this was years and years and years ago. This was years ago when all them big influencers in the spiritual community suddenly turned Christian all at the same time. That was then. They was trying to get me, but they couldn't. I just kept on doing stuff. Y'all need a candle lit? Y'all want some chord readings? Y'all want to talk about them aliens? Y'all want to learn how to contact spirits? I kept going. They even tried to, what you call it, or shadow ban my channel. But I went live so many times, multiple hours a day, every day, until the algorithm picked it back up because I was getting so many views and da da da. And then I got my YouTube plaque for this channel because I didn't let a shadow ban stop me, darling. I literally just kept going until my plaque arrived in the mail. Okay. Sprinkle, sprinkle. Thank you for coming on this channel. Thank you, ma'am. You're welcome. See, I like when y'all come over here and treat me good over here. Makes me want to come over here more. Okay, you said you remember that mess. I know. And so I'm not going to say any names, but a lot of influencers who went through that, who changed back into Christianity, they were telling me about some weird stuff that was happening to them. And I told them, girl, just ignore it. Just ignore it. It'll go away. It'll go away. And they were just scared back into their religion or to their Christianity. And you can tell those people that were scared back into it don't even really believe it now. They're just there based off of fear and thinking, oh, I'm going to get punished, or people, you're going to start messing with me again, or da-da-da-da. They're there because they were targeted victims. And now they're afraid to explore their own spirituality and teach other people about it because they let the fear win. Okay. So I feel like a lot of people don't really feel like they want to represent, but they don't have a choice because they still want to do their channel. But since they were scared into Christianity, now they have to flip the script and start talking about that, and they don't really want to, believe me. So I'm here to tell y'all, if y'all are listening, it was all a joke and a trick, and they scared y'all back into it because they need some more tithes and offerings in the church, and they don't need y'all big influencers influencing women or other, people, men included, to understanding who the true divinity is. Okay. When you're moving out of a patriarchy into a matriarchy, religion plays a major part in it, because if you have been worshiping a male deity in a patriarchal religion that's not really set up for women to thrive in, your culture and your religion is what keeps your morals and your standards and your belief systems and your ability to be controlled intact. Okay. Now, the influencers are now becoming more powerful than the pastors. They're becoming more powerful than the news anchors. They're becoming more powerful than the religions out there. And that's why they target those influencers, to scare them back into it. And that's what happens. Okay. So I just wanted to tell y'all, it's not really them turning back. It's they were scared into it. And even if you ask them, they're going to tell you. You're going to see their eyes shift a little bit. They were forced back into it. They didn't go willingly. They went because they were scared. Religion is full of bigots. Glad my eyes open. Good for you. Yes. You know, why can't we choose our own spiritual path? What makes sense to us? What makes us vibrate high and feel good and want to be our best selves in the world? Why can't we choose? Why does it have to be chosen for us, pushed upon us, and we don't even agree with it, nor does it make sense? Blind, dumb compliance. That's why. Okay. And the blind and dumb compliance makes you into sheep. Okay. So if you're goddess minded or godlike minded, you're not going to really go for religion, even if you are a man, even if you are someone who doesn't feel like, oh, well, matriarchy is the way. You still will find the divinity in yourself as man, not to go with whatever has been just given to you. You at least make your own spiritual path that makes sense to you individually as a person, you know? If you like things customized, spirituality is for you. If you like things generic and forced upon you and just do what you got to do, religion is for you. Okay? Who is sponsoring these attacks, girl? It's probably just a bunch of people that are like evangelists, a bunch of people that don't like the rise of feminine energy or the divine feminine. It's probably a bunch of red pill. It's probably a bunch of like men who are just upset at the world, you know, LPP, you know what that is, LPPS, LPP syndrome. You know, it's just probably like that. And that's also probably why they're getting ready to put out the new American Horror Story, season 13, bringing them witches back. 13 is the witch's number, okay? Because the calendar used to be 13 months based on the 13 menstrual cycles of women. Okay. Okay. Based on the 13 menstrual cycles of women. And the men were jealous of the calendar. And they wanted to make it a solar calendar, which is masculine. Solar is masculine, lunar is feminine. We used to have a lunar calendar, they to the solar calendar. That's why we have leap year. That's why all the months have different numbers of days, because they just wanted to be somebody that they weren't. Okay. So back when we had 13 months, everything was even. We didn't have no leap year. We didn't have no uneven months, the days, everything was even because that's how it was supposed to be. Okay. And so now that it's season 13 on American Horror Story, if y'all are watching this in 2026, they're bringing the witches back, baby, because that is the divine feminine number. Okay. So if y'all are wondering, that's why. Also, a lot of y'all don't realize that the whole cycle and the whole reason that most humans are here is because of women and these cycles. Okay. So if religion doesn't recognize or honor and promote and exonify and show the same amount of respect and deification of women, I don't want it. Okay. Because we're the whole reason you're here. And if you can't recognize, then we don't recognize religion. Okay. That's why. And I know some of y'all have been raised in the patriarchy for so long, you will defend it. That's not my problem, baby. That's yours. And if you want to wake up, all the information is everywhere in order to do so. I don't try to convert people. You have to come to that understanding on your own because you want to, and you know that there's more. Okay. And I think when a lot of women start waking up to their divine feminine energy and dismiss patriarchal religion, that they will free themselves in every part of the world. Okay. Got to let go of the patriarchy religion. They have to let go of the patriarchal religion. That is the last step before freedom, okay, of mind. Like the Crusades, convert, or else most religions are to feed off the energy of mass once. Yeah, they be feeding off y'all energy. Who do you think y'all are praying to? A man. You're giving the masculine your energy. Okay. That's why when you go to the church, most churches have a steeple, which is a phallic symbol. The man up at the pulpit is a man, you know, telling you what to do, and then you're all responding back, giving your massive energy. And if you understand symbolism, you'll understand that it's just an energy siphon. Most religion, they gather you all up on one day of the week, take your energy, take your money, and then send you on home. Okay. Sprinkle, sprinkle. Yeah. It was like religion was created to control others when no one is there. Okay. Out of fear, out of guilt, out of all those things. So you stay in line when no one is there to tell you to stay in line. It's religion. Okay. Now, a lot of the influencers who have done their research, done their study, spirituality, went on different spiritual paths and were forced back into Christianity out of fear from, being harassed by whoever, you know, was doing that at that time to all those influencers. It's okay to come back. It's okay. They won't care. The future is female now, darling. So I'm just letting y'all know. The future is female and they know it. That's why they were so scared and trying to pull that last little move and get all them little influencers scared, But y'all, anytime, baby, come on back if that's what you want. Because I know y'all don't really want to be over there. You don't have to stop being Christian, but you got to understand that it is a man-made religion that is patriarchal. So if you like it because of community, because of culture, because of that's what you know, and you don't want to learn anything else, that's fine. Most people will accept what they are given and keep it moving. Most people, yeah. A lot of people won't. They want to know more. They want to find the divinity within. They want to understand, why are they telling people that they came from a man's rib? They want to understand the whole thing behind it because it just don't make sense, nor does it honor women. So they want to understand. And when they figure it out and they understand and they get all the information, they just like, oh no, that's not for me. Never was. So, but some people just accept what they're given. They don't want to learn nothing else. They just want to go about it and keep moving. And that is perfectly fine. Some people need religion and some people don't. There are whenever I say there's some people that have to have orders and some people that work better as self-leaders. Okay. So that's what I feel. You said, who do I pray to? I don't pray to anybody, baby. Sprinkle, sprinkle. Okay. If I say anything, it's literally to myself or to the divine feminine energy. I don't really talk to any male deity in the sky that's supposed to grant my wishes. Okay. All right. I don't be doing that, baby. Now, I'll best. I'll do a lot of other stuff, but I'm not gonna ask no male deity for anything. There is no God without goddesses. So there's a hierarchy. You understand? Without Mary, there's no Jesus. Without the universe, there are no planets. There's no sun. So the universe is feminine by nature, the darkness. So the highest aspect of any type of creator or all omniscient being would definitely have to be feminine. So I'm going to skip the middleman, go straight to my divine feminine energy. Okay. Sprinkle, sprinkle. That's why I don't pray to men. So it really makes sense if you think about it and why I do what I do. I don't pray to a man. You said, why not? Well, because I don't think that men listen. I don't think the men are more evolved than women or the nature of women. I think that the feminine energy is literally way more evolved than the masculine energy, for sure. And I think it's more abundant and I think it's more prosperous than masculine energy. And I think masculine energy came from feminine energy. And that's science. Okay. So why would I pray to a creation? Why would I pray to something that I can create? That's why. I can't figure that out. Like why y'all play. But see, for men should actually also pray to women or a female feminine energy god because that's where you came from as well. you know, you didn't come from a man. So there you go. And most women, most symbols of fertility, abundance, and prosperity is a woman. Okay. So if y'all are trying to work with prosperity, if y'all are trying to work with abundance and get money, y'all can't really be talking to no men deities for the most abundance. You talk to them feminine energies, baby, because that's where abundance comes from, because that's where everything comes from. So I think that's why most of the female women spiritual influencers were suddenly, tried, messed with and stalked and harassed because they know that the divine feminine energy was on the rise back then, and they tried to scare the women influencers back into Christianity, which is a patriarchal system. And they were getting too popular, they were getting too many followers, they were getting too many people to start exploring their spirituality. They were getting too many people leaving the church. Their tithes and offerings was dwindling and drying up in the church. So they targeted those women influencers, which is pretty sad because if you are a truly spiritual person and you understand who and what you are as a divine feminine, you would have never ever fallen for the okie doke. Okay. This channel always makes me cry in a good way. Well, I'm so glad. Sprinkle, sprinkle. Thank you, girl. Yeah. So, shout out to all the spiritual influencers that got scared back into Christianity. I don't know what you personally went through, but I fear that you feared way too much and you were overthinking it all. Because I do know that a couple of the influencers, it happened to them, and they tried to do that with me, and it just did not work on me. It's like, oh, this one ain't taken, baby. This one is not taken. Okay, I'm so happy you left religion. Make more lives on this topic. Yes, ma'am. Sprinkle, sprinkle. Thank you. And y'all know I have a sense of humor. So a lot of people that were harassing me or stalking me, I would literally joke around with them. Like I would literally make them think that I was really considering it. And then I would ask like some questions like, so where did Jesus come from again? Was it Mary? Was it a woman? Is that woman based on the goddess Isis from ancient Egypt? And is that the same story that's in the Bible that predates the Bible? Is Heru the same as Jesus? Why did they change the calendar when when all the dates were perfect? Were men jealous of women that bad? I want to know. Girl, they was just like, "Psh, I can't do nothing with her. We gotta go. She ain't doing it. She ain't scared." Okay. Mhm. Like, I'm sorry. I need answers. You don't have answers. If you have answers, come back and let me know. They were like, "Well, you're just supposed to believe." Okay, well, but I don't. So now what? Then you're going to hell. Well, then all my friends are gonna be there, and most of the people I like are gonna be there because I don't know nobody that's going to heaven according to what y'all talking about. So I'm glad then, whatever. And then they were like, "Well, you're gonna suffer." I'm like, "Well, I'm suffering right now talking to you because you ain't making no sense and can't answer no questions." I like to talk to intelligent people. I would literally be trolling these people that were literally trying to get me to convert to Christianity or back to Christianity, and they couldn't do it. Like, nothing they could say was making no sense. They were just going in a circle, and I'm sure some of them started to question their own reasons for being there. I might have got somebody to start thinking. I don't know. I could have helped them more than they was trying to convert me. So then I told them, "Well, make sure you stay subscribed to my channel just in case you want to learn something." Okay. All right. And it's not just Christianity. It it's any religion that's patriarchal. I don't want to be a part of it. Okay? So I'm not just picking on Christians. I'm not picking on nobody. They were picking on me for having free will. You know what I mean? And they were picking on all those other influencers for having free will and too much influence. Okay? Should we hide our awakened side to religious men? You shouldn't tell nobody. No one should know. You should just live your life as proof of what you do. Okay. Your life should be a reflection of your spirituality without even having to say anything. Okay. If you walking around happy, vibrating high with prosperity and abundance, that's all people really need to know. Okay. That's all they need to see, and that's all they need to know. And if they ask you, have you accepted the Lord Jesus Christ as your personal savior? No, I haven't, darling. Unless he got some money to pay my bills. I don't think I'm gonna look for any man to be a personal savior unless they come in with that bill money. He got some bill money. He got some properties, lands, and deeds. Hmm. So, so far, so good with non-patriarchal spirituality. Hmm. Yeah, nature doesn't have a religion, but is very prosperous and abundant and fertile, and it makes sense. Hmm. Sprinkle, sprinkle. And y'all, don't ask me about goddesses. Whoever you're drawn to, whoever you want to learn about, that's what you go do. That's what you go do. Whatever you're attracted to, whatever you want to learn about, whatever is calling to you at the time, that's what you go learn about. I don't worship, I learn. That's the difference. I don't look for anything to worship. I am an observant person that understands archetypes. I read, I understand the nature, the archetypes, the qualities, and the characteristics of goddesses, archetypes, divine feminine energy. I don't need to worship anything. Nothing wants to be worshiped. Just wants to be understood. It just wants to be understood. Okay? That's literally it. Man always wants to worship something because they don't feel divine within themselves or good enough within themselves. So they're always looking outside of self to worship something, to ask for something from somebody. Always the same. So I don't worship anybody. Okay? And a lot of people don't realize that that's most of y'all's problems. That's why you can't self-love. That's why you can't find the answers within. That's why you can't do a lot of stuff because you need permission, you need somebody to worship, and you need somebody to ask if it's okay for you to have something. Okay? This is why a lot of spiritual women who take the power of their own free will and will things to be, manifest things to be, make decisions that are going to lead to things she wants to happen. They love themselves and they honor, respect the divine feminine within themselves. And they walk, talk, and act like, and they represent the divine feminine energy. And they live that life of prosperity and abundance because they know who they are. That's the point. When religion tells you you're less than, you're not equal to a man, you got to do what this thing says, or you're going to suffer, or you're going to this, and do, it starts sounding like they don't like you. Do you understand? And I can't deal with stuff that don't like me. I don't have the time. Okay, if you don't like me, kick rocks. We're not finna read a book that don't like us, baby. We're not finna study a whole religion that does not allow you to prosper as a woman nor your daughters. Throw that to the men. They can figure it out. In fact, they created it. Think about it. I don't care about religion. No religion. Religion is man-made. I don't care about it. All right? Sprinkle, sprinkle. Any religion, all religions that are patriarchal and man-made. I don't want it. Don't care about it. And I did not give it to my daughters. Sprinkle, sprinkle. To them, religion is like Greek mythology. Something they barely know, something they don't use, something that's full of metaphor and plagiarism from other ancient cultures, okay? That's how they see religion. And they don't understand people that literally believe it literally and sit there and argue about it and disown kids over it. They don't understand. It's like they think those people are cuckoo. You said you glad you left your religion? Okay. Your video about okay, thank you, ma'am. Yeah. In some cultures and some religions where they make you cover yourself, they say that's not religion. Some people will argue about it, but if any religion is patriarchal and controls women, it's not for women. Okay? It's for men. You said religion is performative as well. Yeah, religion is for people that are want it or are brainwashed. Because a lot of y'all didn't have a choice. Think about it. You or didn't have an option to accept that or not. It was forced upon you as a child, most likely. So that's why I never forced it on my children. Because I want you to have an option to believe in a patriarchal religion or not, especially as a woman. Excuse me, children, you're old enough now. Do you want to study this patriarchal religion that's man-made? No? Okay. Sprinkle, sprinkle. See, if you gave them the option, they would literally say no. Think about it. Mm-mm. And be like, what? But I feel that there's be a resurgence of those Christian influencers that were forced by fear back into Christianity. I believe there's going to be a resurgence of them coming back. I feel it. They're going to come back. Watch. Not all of them, of course, but some of them are coming back because they already realized it was fake and now they feel silly. And I know a lot of people don't want to be wishy-washy in front of their, their followers or their subscribers, and they want to be like, well, switch it back and forth. It's okay to change your mind. It's okay to get new knowledge. It's okay to do things different. It's okay. No one's going to judge you for doing what you feel is right. Not what you fear, but what you feel. Okay? See, that's another thing that a lot of religious people, they don't have the strong intuition that spirituality tells you to develop. Okay? They have in religion what they call discernment, which is induced by trauma. But in spirituality, when you start to pay attention to yourself, your body, the way you respond to certain people, the way you respond to certain things, that's intuition. And religion, they put so much fear into you that you're scared to do anything and you're paranoid about everything. And you go through a form of religious psychosis, which is trauma-induced, creates discernment. There's a difference between discernment and intuition. Kids have intuition. Women have intuition. Animals have intuition. Religious people have discernment because they are being traumatized and brainwashed. That's the difference. Okay? So, I have intuition. I don't have discernment, but I have intuition. And I can see things because I'm observant and I don't just take things that are just given to me and I just don't blindly believe them. I actually do my research. I actually read. I actually research history. I don't just take crap and swallow it. Do you understand? And I don't give crap to my kids and tell them to swallow it. So that's the difference. One is trauma induced and the other is not. And also, discernment is not a gift. It is a trauma induced paranoia. Okay. Based in fear. Intuition is a natural thing that you are born with, and it will increase the more you trust in yourself, not some outside deity that's going to send you to the fiery pit. There's a difference. Listen to what I'm telling you. When you don't live in fear, your intuition can become really strong. When you live in fear, your trauma response to fear turns into discernment and paranoia. So you may have similar qualities, or you can, oh, that person energy is bad. I don't trust them. Yeah, because you sense something because you fear something. But intuition is like, that person's energy is definitely off. I just feel that they're not a good person. But see, I don't feel like there's, you know, a war against religion and spirituality. I feel like religion was forced on people, but spirituality is a choice of free will. Okay. So it's kind of like, you know, I think it's kind of like a choice whether to allow fear and punishment and patriarchal morals and rules to put, trauma into your mind, into your psyche as a young child. I don't know if that's correct. Okay. But I didn't do that to my children, thank goodness. Mhm. You say you don't trust people who need God. Yeah, it's like they're codependent and they don't like to take accountability or they're not, they don't know how to look within and figure things out. They're the codependent, like in my opinion, like they're literally just codependent people that don't recognize the divinity within, who need something on the outside um, to accept them or to punish them or to do all these things because that's what they were trained to think. But I think spiritual people trust themselves more. They love themselves more. They feel fine willing and manifesting rather than begging and asking. There's just a little bit more dignity involved, in my opinion, with spiritual people versus religious people. Okay. There's just a little bit more dignity involved, in my opinion. Okay. Yes, yes, yes. Yes, spirituality is very freeing, and it really can't be used against you, but religion can. Religion can be used against you, but spirituality cannot. That's the difference. Okay? No one has been persecuted by spirituality, but people have been persecuted by religion. So, if I was going to give anything to my children, it wouldn't be that. Mhm. You said, "Who created this world?" I don't know. Ask your mother where she came from. Then ask her mother. 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 Until you can't ask nobody no more. Okay? Sprinkle, sprinkle. Yes, I said ask her mother. You said, do you believe that there's a higher power? I believe that there's a divine feminine energy where everything came from. If you want to call her, she, divine feminine, a higher power. Sure. Sprinkle, sprinkle. Some people believe it's their higher selves, the better version of themselves who are more aware and awakened without fear. Okay. Yes. It's so funny. Like there are some people that won't even deal with another person or try to be in a relationship with them if they are religious because they don't want to have to deal with that aspect of where that leads, you know what I'm saying? There's some people that won't even deal with you if you are religious, unless it's to exploit you and your religion. So just know that. Like some people will be like, oh, I can't date you. You're too religious. I'm so sorry. Basically, in their minds, what they're saying is that you're too brainwashed and you follow things blindly without questioning it. So they don't really want someone with that type of intelligence and decision making qualities, you know, living with them or raising them kids. So, yeah. Sprinkle, sprinkle. You said what? Exactly, harassment and gang stalking, psychological warfare. It's so real. They're a cult. Yeah, girl, but it doesn't work on everybody. It only works on people. Like when they try to make all those influencers go back to Christianity, it only works on people that are afraid and don't know enough. If you have a lot of knowledge, no one can no one can make you believe something that can be proven incorrect. You know what I mean? So, a lot of people that practice spirituality, that, did all this stuff, they didn't have the real knowledge. They only had the spiritual concept. They didn't have the knowledge to back it up for real. Because when you have the knowledge, nobody can tell you anything. And that knowledge comes from researching, reading, understanding things, understanding symbolism, understanding where the origin of so many things come from, blah, 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 blah. They will not be able to be swayed because of proof. So, a lot of people did not do their research. They did not have any type of proof in their, in their knowledge. And so that's why they were easily, you know, pushed back into it by fear. But when you're a conspiracy theorist, when you keep up on the latest technology, when you understand the economic system and how many people were leaving the church and divine feminine energy and ancient Sumeria, ancient Egypt, ancient Kemet, when you understand all these things, different realms, higher dimensions, nobody can come to you and say, oh my gosh, you better repent. The Lord is coming and you're going to be punished. You're just going to laugh at them and you're going to be like, sir, I didn't read too much. You picked the wrong one. Okay. Try that one over there. Okay. Do you know my library? I have real books. I don't watch YouTube videos for knowledge. I got books that cost a lot of money that you can't even get anymore. Okay. Okay. I got rare books. You can't talk the same talk to me as you can talk to certain people. I've been doing this since I was in the fifth grade. It ain't new. I've been doing this before the internet was available to people. I've been doing this before CD-ROM. Okay? I've been doing this before Macintosh computers. Actually, maybe not. I think we had some of those in kindergarten and the library. But I'm talking about like laptops. Okay. So that's why I couldn't be forced back into a patriarchal religion that wasn't serving me nor my future generations. Okay. Because I knew too much. Okay. And see, a lot of people will try to debate you. I don't have to debate. I don't accept. Free will. You see, when you try to debate, versus having a conversation versus just, I'm not interested. That should be enough. No means no. You said not CD-ROM. Exactly, girl. Yeah. No means no. Accept it, move on. Thank you, ma'am. And I'm not against anybody. I just don't like religion. So all the people in the stories of religion, I don't got nothing against them. They're just characters in somebody's story. Okay. Do you have anything against the people in the stories of Greek mythology? I don't either. Don't care. Some of them are interesting. Some of them are replicas or versions of other ancient deities from other Patreons and different cultures. I said, oh, they have a lot in common. You know, they're an archetype. That's literally it. So that's why not debating no archetypes. I'm not debating a system that's not for me. I don't accept it. No religion. Okay? So anyone that wants me to be religious, sorry to tell you that I'm not, and I don't accept religion. But I don't care if other people do, just like I don't eat meat. But I don't care if you sit there and eat a steak in front of me. I don't care. You know, I like free will. Free will is good for people because you can sit across from me and eat a steak, and I can sit across from you and eat vegetables and tofu, and we can have a really good conversation. I don't accept what's on your plate, but we can still have a conversation. That's all. Mhm. Sprinkle, sprinkle. And people keep talking about the Bible and hoodoo. The Bible contradicts itself so many times and has been written by so many people and have been changed by so many people. Who knows what's up in there, child? Yeah, I'm sure there's you can make a spell out of anything, ma'am. I promise you. You can make a spell out of anything. All right. If I needed to make a spell and all I had was a Bible, I could make a spell too. Anybody can make a spell out of anything. Y'all remember that scene from Practical Magic when the little girl was just walking around plucking little flowers here? This means that. This means that. He's gonna have one green eye, one blue. His favorite symbol is gonna be a star. You can pick anything out of anything and make it into a spell. That's the beauty of spell work. It's not a structured thing. It's about creativity. It's about being a creator, not a follower. Okay. So anyone that can create spells out of anything, that's creative energy. Okay. Mhm. Your 6-year-old makes spells out of blowing bubbles. All right. See, whatever you got, you can make it work. Hmm. Thank you. You said Christmas came early this year. Y'all silly. Was the resurrection a metaphor? Yes. Rebirth, fertility, period. Whenever a woman sheds her uterine lining, an egg comes out, like on Easter, the fertility egg, the blood, the son that would have been, that all comes out, and then a new egg comes. That's regeneration. That is resurrection. There's another chance for life there. That is fertility, like Ishtar, yes. Okay. And if you literally decode the story of Jesus, both of the Marys were at the cross. Both of the ovaries, the mothers, where the eggs come from, were at the cross to collect Jesus. And the blood ran down. That's a period. Okay. So everything is literally taken from nature of a woman and flipped to make you think it's patriarchal, but it's not. Everything always goes back to the woman. Everything. No matter what you try to do, it's always going back to the woman. And it's always going to show you what happens. So, yeah. That's why on Easter, y'all have eggs, bunnies, because that represents fertility. You have spring, which means resurrection back to life. That's when most people are getting pregnant. Everything is going back to the fertility of a woman. Even the birth of Jesus, Christmas. Mary gave birth. Without Mary, there is no Christianity. Okay? They didn't give Jesus no daddy. They said his daddy was God. So that means it's a miracle birth. A miracle birth, a virgin birth, could be just the shedding of an egg. It shows the power of a woman, whether she can bring life to this planet or not. That's why it's so under attack, because we are the gatekeepers of life. Okay, without us, there is no him. There's no one to worship. There's no one to make songs about. There's no one to pray to. There's no one to forgive you. The Christians don't realize. He was not the religion. He was literally sacrificed. And what was left? Both of them Marys. So, think about it. And they can have some more. They can have another one. Okay? They can go make another one. They want to. And teach them the same thing that they taught their son as well. So communion is drinking this. Well, in the Catholic Church, they will give you a chalice, which represents the womb. Because a chalice represents the womb. So in the Catholic Church, they used to have a golden chalice that you would drink wine out of. That represents the womb. Yes. Otherwise, they give you a dripping cross, which is the female reproductive system. It looks like a cross. Some say it looks like an ankh, but the cross symbol came from the ankh symbol. So, and the cross, when the egg is not fertilized, it's discarded in the blood. Okay? What? Yeah, Catholic Church does understand the divine feminine. That's why they have Mary, that's why they have all of this, but they still like to put guilt and fear, which is not something that a lot of people will accept either. Okay. Sprinkle, sprinkle. But they are one of the very few Christian religions that does recognize and honor the divine feminine. Yes. And they're also very ritualistic, and most of their practices come from ancient pagan practices anyway, with a patriarchal twist. Okay? That's all it literally is. All right, y'all. Do you have any questions that pertain to the subject? You said Jesus was not a fertilized egg. Exactly. That's why he got sacrificed and he bled out. He could have been a he could have been a miscarriage, or he just could have been a period of time. Thank you, Flower Child, Sprinkles. He could have been a metaphor. Everything is a metaphor. You can look at it in different ways. That's one way to look at it. That's one way to look at it. There are several ways to look at it, not just one. That's the beauty of spirituality. It gives you several ways, several perspectives interpreting, not just one. Mhm. So you can also say, okay, well, this character in the Bible, Jesus, is also based on another story that's much older, the story of Heru, or the story of Hercules, or the story of this, or the story of that. They're all the same because they're based on the same thing. And they're also based on a patriarchal sun sign. That's why if you just knew and understood all that stuff, you would see the pattern. You would see the similarities. Yeah, Horus. You would see all of it. You would recognize some of the sayings and the teachings from the Gospel of John as the same as from Thoth or Jehuti. You would see that they were very, very similar, but one is older. You see, you would see that he studied the ancient religions and the ancient spirituality that came before him and then spoke about it. You would understand that you're listening to a person that studied paganism teach you, and then you rebranded it as Christianity and flipped it and made it patriarchal, leaving out the divine feminine in a lot of it. So that's why people don't question things, they don't research anything, they don't understand anything anymore. They just take whatever's given to them. And I don't feel like that's a good thing if you want to be in control of your own thoughts and your own decision and your own mind. Mhm. Sprinkle, sprinkle. You said, what about women who are childless? What about them? You still have a period? You still have estrogen? You still have intuition? You still have divine feminine energy? All right, then. I think you're good. Transmuting shame to not fall back into religion. It's not a choice. Falling back into it means you never left it. Sprinkle, sprinkle. Because you don't understand anything else. That's all you know. So the best thing you can do is learn so that you can see. It's like medical advances. It's like when people learn, oh, well, this causes this cures that. And they look back on stupid, dumb superstitions saying, oh, this person thought this person was possessed because they were having a seizure. It's kind of like that. You can't go back once you learn. If you don't take the time to read, to research, to understand, to really know, You can fall back into anything because you don't know enough to know that it's silly. Okay. So, for example, like I said, somebody suffering from a seizure, you're not going to go and perform an exorcism on them. You're going to give them some medication and take them to the doctor because you know better. There's medical advances now, right? When your field dries up and there's a drought, you're not going to think it's that old lady down the street and that she's a witch and that she put a spell on you. You're going to be like, dang, it's hot outside and it didn't rain this year. We must be going through a drought. You see? So when you know more, you're not going to fall back into something that just is not correct or doesn't make sense or add up or is facts, you know? So if you want to not fall back into it, you have to educate yourself, literally. And that will prevent that for sure because it just won't make sense. Okay. Do you think religion will disappear eventually? I think it will become more like Greek mythology, or I think it will become more like that in the future. I think it will become more understood as just another version of the pagan um, system, but more patriarchal. You know what I mean? I think it will be seen in that as that in the future. Okay. And also, like, if you really get into science and quantum physics, you'll start to understand all those questions y'all are asking that the church can't answer. Okay. When you start looking at particles, as at manifestation, at alchemy, at different levels of matter, it's all going to make sense. Okay. But if you don't know, that's what education is for. That's what research is for. We got the internet at our fingertips. There's books everywhere. But I will tell y'all, it's so easy just to accept what is. It's so easy. That's why they give it to you as a child, because now you feel like, okay, I already got my spirituality or my religion taken care of. Check. I read the Bible. I highlighted some crap and I went to church. Great. I'm done for the week. That's not a journey. You're not learning anything. You're just reading and memorizing regurgitated, plagiarized stuff from other, you know, pantheons long ago. That's all you're doing. Okay. You might get something out of it because it was written a long time ago in an ancient time, but it may be put in a way and twisted for you to fear and also for you to abide by the patriarchy. So they could be using it in a different way, or you can get something out of it and say, hey, I recognize that. I heard that quote on this, and that, but they said it was from this person originally, or this thing, so you're going to start to connect dots anyway, eventually. But the thing is, it's not fact. Most religions are only a couple thousand years old, so they can't be ancient. And that's it. When you know a lot, especially you are a student or a scholar or a spiritual person that likes to educate themselves on things beyond religion, beyond superstition, beyond a lot of things, when you want to go into the science of it, the symbology of it, the etymology of it, when you want to get down to the forensics of it, it's too easy to see. Okay. It's literally like the forensic pathologist and those true crime documentaries that get down to the nitty gritty. They see it all. And that's what a true religious scholar would do. They would see it all, and then they would just say, well, I study religion. They would stop saying that they believed in it because they see where it came from and the origins of it, and that it's not that new, it's It's not old. And so therefore it can't be this or it can't be that. Okay. Thank you, you sprinkle sprinkle. Now, the questions y'all are asking me, you need to research because the journey starts with your curiosity to know and the amount of knowledge you seek and learn. That is what you deserve, you know? It's just like that's what you deserve. What you seek and learn, that's what you deserve to know. Now, how you find that information is up to you. Sprinkle, sprinkle. You said no one can be bothered with self-exploration. That's why they have an external deity, because they can't be bothered. All right? But then when they come in contact with someone who understands who they are themselves and their own power, they don't understand it. They want to be like that, but they're too lazy. So they just want to accept what is, not question it, and move on. So therefore, I mean, you can do it in a different way that doesn't involve religion, but it will always go back to what your core beliefs are. Because if they're patriarchal, that's how you feel about yourself. And you put limits on yourself psychologically, subconsciously based on what you believe. So it will always go back to what you believe. You can't really see yourself as a divine superior being if your religion taught you that you weren't. You'll never ever get that main character, divine feminine energy if you're continuously in a patriarchal religion. Okay? Sprinkle, sprinkle. You said, what do I even believe anymore? It's not about belief, it's about knowledge. Because once you know something, there is no more belief. There's only knowing. Okay? Thank you, Goddess. You have been so impactful on my journey. Thank you. Thank you, Mela. Sprinkle, sprinkle. You don't have to believe in something if you know it. So the journey is there, the information is there, the knowledge is there, all the puzzle pieces are there. Do you want to know or do you want to just believe? You said knowledge is your power. Exactly. Those that believe can't argue with those that know. Because they can tell you anything and you'll believe it. Okay. Sprinkle, sprinkle. And whatever journey you end up on is going to be more awakening than religion. I promise you. How does fasting help you in spirituality? Well, it helps raise your frequency because a lot of times when y'all be fasting, y'all ain't eating that meat. Okay. Y'all aren't eating refined sugar. Y'all aren't feeding parasites. Y'all aren't lowering your frequency by putting your organs are not straining to work by trying to filter out all them toxins y'all be eating. So it literally allows your body to vibrate on a higher level and use less energy trying to digest whatever y'all put in y'all system. And it's going to be used more for your manifesting because now you have a higher frequency and more energy to manifest what you want. Okay. Now, if you have a clean diet, you don't really have to fast. Okay. But instead of just telling people what not to eat, what to eat, they just tell y'all stop eating because they don't know what y'all eat. You know what I'm saying? They just to stop eating because we don't know what y'all put in y'all body. I know it ain't good. So, clean eaters, I really feel that they don't really have to fast in order to get the same effect. I mean, it could probably be better, yeah. But let's say you fast and you just eat crap all day. Let's say your vibration gets up to a certain point. Your body is not filtering out all the toxins. So now you have more energy to manifest and to raise your frequency and aura and da da da. Now, let's say the person sitting next to you has a really good, clean diet. They're already there. They can still be eaten. You know what I'm saying? So it just depends on what you are, vibrating at in your diet, I will say. Okay. It's all about vibrations and the energy that your body uses to digest a lot of stuff that could be used to manifest or to raise your frequency. Just think of it like that. It's not anything like woo-woo. It's literally science. Best banned books to start my journey. I don't know, ma'am. I don't know. I don't even know what books are banned. I just read what I want, what I can find, and what sounds interesting. You know what I mean? So I do have a list of books that I recommend. I think it's the second or first link in the description bar of this video. So you can click on that and check of all the books that I have or a lot of them that I recommend. Why does Hinduism worship women but disrespects them? Because it's still a patriarchal religion. Thank you. I Center Porter. Thank you for the super sticker. Sprinkle, sprinkle. Women don't need religion. Think about it. Men do. Mr. Super Chat. Hold on. Thank you. Got that one. You stop talking. Okay, I'm not. This is the wrong channel, baby. Come on. That's why I don't come over here. All right. I'm not answering questions from the other channel. See the name here? Shira Goddess? Ask me questions about that and what we're talking about. Shira, please tell us your thoughts on Salem witch trials. I don't know. I wasn't there, baby, but it sounded like a bunch of jealous men to me. All right. A bunch of jealous people, bunch of ignorant people, bunch of spiritually religious psychotic people that wanted them people property. All right. Sprinkle, sprinkle. You said missed you here. Thank you. Are boundaries important for manifesting? What do you mean boundaries? Yeah. Don't be around people that are low vibrational. Okay. Get away from low vibrational people when you're manifesting. And don't be hanging around them while you're manifesting something. And don't tell them about it either. Okay. Boundaries, yes. Have some boundaries when you talk to people. Don't tell them everything. If they're getting on your nerves, if they're negative, dismissed. Okay. So just understand that. Keep your vibrations high. Have you ever visualized and it came to life? Yes, of course, always. Sprinkle, sprinkle. How to change identity fast and make it stick. What do you mean identity? You got to legally change your name. There you go. Sprinkle, sprinkle. See, this is why I'll come on this channel. Okay. You got to file the paperwork to change your name. That's how you change your identity. Okay. There you go. This is why I do not come on this channel, because y'all be making up stuff, making up dumb stuff. Look, You are who you are. Learn who you are. Know thyself. Uh-oh, create your best version. Thank you, ma'am. Sprinkle, sprinkle. What do you do if your entire friend group is low vibrational? You low vibrational too if you're hanging out with them. Sprinkle, sprinkle. Do you recommend doing spells for yourself and making content on it? If that's what you want to do, you got free will. I mean, if that's what I wanted to do, I sure would do it. I have done it. How can I attract more money making ideas? By manifesting more money making ideas. And every step you take in life needs to be towards making more money and receiving ideas. How can I strengthen my self belief and trust in my ability to manifest and work with spells without doubting myself? Because it's all in you, all is mental. If you look for an external force, you're going to be looking in vain. Sprinkle, sprinkle. Do I need to commit to myself for better results? You need to understand who you are and stop looking outside. All right. It's like, it's, think of it like this. You're looking for something outside of yourself that's inside of you. The fool's journey. You know, the tarot card, the fool walking around with a little stick bag, that's you. You going everywhere looking for everything, but the answer is in you already. But you sometimes it takes people to walk around, do stupid stuff, run around, fall off cliffs, do dumb stuff to realize that didn't work. So now you ain't left but nothing but you. You've been everywhere, man, looking for someone. You know that Rihanna song? You're going to look so hard everywhere else, but you're going to forget to look within. Okay, so just start there first and skip all the rigmarole. Okay, skip all that stuff, girl. Save yourself some time and energy so you can look good when you got your money. Okay, you ever see those people that are young, smart, abundant, rich, got everything going for them, da da da, because they learn quick without having to make 1,000,000,000 mistakes. Okay, they had a mentor that understood certain things and they got the information from them. They didn't have to go out and experience failure 1,000,000,000 100 times in order to know what not to do. So y'all got to understand, which methods do I use for attracting money? Manifestation. Girl, you changed my life. Please keep lighting up your lives. Following you all the way from Argentina. You look stunning. Thank you, ma'am. Yeah, I manifest money, girl. All the time. I manifest all of that. Okay. The universe has no religion. That's right. If you got outside of Earth in a spaceship, went to a whole different galaxy, if you believe in space, some people do, but you got out and there were some aliens sitting there talking about, hi, how are you? What do you believe in? And you start talking about some religion, they're going to be like, what is that? You know? But the universal language are symbols, science, alchemy, chemistry, vibration. Okay. Thought. Someone said numbers. Exactly. Okay. You can't communicate. You can't talk about your little religion when you get out to them aliens in the distant galaxies. Y'all gonna have to communicate in another way. That is the basis and the building blocks of all things. You'll have to learn that. What is a superstition you believe in, even if it sounds silly to others? I don't really believe in a superstition at all, unless it's beneficial to me, which then makes it a manifestation. Okay, sprinkle, sprinkle. Thank you, Martha knows. Math really helped me understand this. Yes. Math, music, science, frequency, light. Yep. You all figured out quantum physics. But yeah, I don't believe in superstitions unless they're beneficial, which then just makes them manifestations. Okay. You see, you have free will. And this is what most people don't practice because they live in fear. They forget that you don't have to accept superstitions. They forget that you can leave the negative and take the positive. They forget that because they've been taught doom and gloom so much that they just automatically look for it. Yeah, but you don't have to. Do you believe in revision or affirm news story? I don't even know what that is, baby. Sprinkle, sprinkle. Is that some contact solution or something like that? Because I think I've seen that in CVS. If you're trying to manifest, just manifest what you want. Just manifest something that's not limited, that is ongoing to your best interest. Okay. What? It means changing past events. Where's the time machine, darling? Do you mean thinking about it in your mind and making it go different mentally? Is that what you mean? Like, instead of what really happened, this is what happened instead. Like on Eve's Bayou at the end. Sprinkle, sprinkle. Me like that. If we are divine, don't think anything can harm us, do we need protection spells? Probably not. You won't be thinking about being harmed if you think you're divine and invincible. You're not going to be you're not going to be scared about everything. Okay, so you just want to give your thanks to you for everything you do on this channel. I'm so grateful I found you at such a young age. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much. So you manifested new 2021 Mercedes by buying a teddy bear with a Mercedes shirt on, and it looked at it every day, and you what? And it worked. All right, ma'am. See, just the little things. That's wonderful. Sprinkle, sprinkle. You said I missed your super chat. Hold on. Let me go back. Where? Okay, here it is. I was speaking of on self-concept. How is that done? Just look within and trust yourself more than you trust outside influences that don't have your best interest in mind. That's all I say. Like, I don't get into religion. I don't get into doubting yourself and over questioning and overthinking things. I don't I like things simplified and easily understood. Okay. So the more you trust yourself, the better decisions you make, the more you're going to trust yourself. The less you look to other people to help you answer the questions within, and the more you trust yourself and do the work, research, and learn, the better results you're going to have. This is why I always tell people, do your own spell work, do your own card readings. They're going to be much better, and you're going to trust yourself more than you trust other people. You're always going to doubt other people, even though you're going to seek their opinions, even though you're going to seek the answers from them, even though you're going to seek something, you're always going to have that little sliver of doubt because it didn't come from you. Okay. So you might as well skip all of that and go learn how to do stuff by yourself and trust yourself. And when you make good decisions that are smart in life, you trust yourself more because you know you ain't stupid and finna mess up. Okay. So you also have to walk a path of thinking things through first. Okay. Because I make good decisions every day of life. And I'm going to trust myself more than I trust that fool over there making dumb decisions. Even though they say, oh, I do this, I do that. But what does your life look like? Because that reflects on your decisions and how stupid you are. Okay. So when you work on yourself, it shows. When you trust yourself, it shows. It shows to everyone, not just you. So you got to make good decisions in life and you got to trust yourself more. That's how your intuition grows. That's how your manifestations are more powerful because you trust yourself more because you know you don't do right and you already know who you are and you're working with that energy, which is divine because it comes from within. All right. So we're not looking on the outside no more. What do you think happens when we die? Your opinion. I believe in the plasma, fourth state of matter. Look it up. Quantum physics. Sprinkle, sprinkle. They're actually doing experiments with it right now in science. It's coming very, very far. There's a book that I recommend, and it's linked in my description under books I suggest. And there's stuff about spiritual plasma. If you've ever heard of it, definitely you need to become a student and learn about those things because if y'all are looking for some woo-woo answers, that will take you from science to spirituality and they will merge for you. Okay. When you learn about plasma, conscious plasma, you're going to understand. It's just going to all start to click. Okay. So go learn about that. Yeah, y'all need to go learn about it. There's books on it that are linked in my description bar. Just click on the little thing that says show more or dot, dot, dot. Click on that under the video. It's going to say books and spiritual items I recommend. You click on that and then you scroll through and look at the book titles. And there you will find some good stuff. Okay. My library, I have lots and lots of books on lots of different things. So definitely just go get into it. So many people have thanked me for introducing them to quantum physics, science, plasma consciousness, and all that kind of stuff. Even my book touches a little bit on it for beginners. And it's linked as well. Books I've written, it's linked in there too. Just look through the description bar. Thank you, Miss A. Sprinkle, sprinkle. You know, the funny thing is, my husband who passed away a while ago, he asked me the same thing, and I told him exactly what I thought scientifically and all this kind of stuff. And I literally think it put him at ease knowing all the science, all the consciousness science and matter and transformation behind it. I think that helped him literally able to accept, because it's just not some hope or belief or fear that's backing up, how we transition. I literally became a student of quantum physics science, alchemy, all the different archetypes, gods, goddesses, different, Orisha. I studied so much. I'm not an expert at everything, but I studied a lot of it. And what I studied the most was definitely the science aspect of it because you can see it translated in metaphor throughout every religion, through every spiritual writing, through every cultural symbol. You can see the science in it because they wanted the science to survive through the symbols and through the stories. So if you read the stories, if you read the history, if you read the hieroglyphs, they all can be translated into the science. That's why when y'all see those alien crop circles, sometimes they're literal molecules or atoms or things that refer to science because that's the language of the universe. Okay. That's the language that's going to be regurgitated over and over and over, no matter the age, no matter the year, no matter the archetype, no matter the religion, no matter what. Science is everything in common and it can be proven. No arguments. Okay. So that's why they like, that's why there's communications and symbols and science. And when you merge it, which was what they used to do, that's what's called alchemy. They used to merge the spirituality and the science and the psychology together as one. And then they broke it all apart. And now they made everything separate so you can't put it back together. Okay? But it goes together. When you were a mortician, did you still not believe? No, I didn't believe in Christianity, girl. I never have. It was on your birthday. It was your birthday yesterday on the total solar eclipse. And the last of that kind was when I was born. What do you think of that means? A cycle return? I think it means you pay attention to the sky. And maybe it's time for a new beginning, perhaps. Sprinkle, sprinkle. The circle of life. I don't know. When I was a mortician, I still didn't believe in being no Christian, babe. I was never a Christian. I honestly never believed any of it. Sorry, they didn't work on me. I'm not an atheist. I'm a knowledge seeker. Yeah. I knew what I felt. This is what I felt. I felt close. The closest that I've ever felt to anyone in my entire life was my mother and my children. The closest that I've ever felt to a divine being was my mother, myself, and my children. Okay. The closest thing I've ever experienced to divine unconditional love was my mother and my children. Not an invisible force that somehow wrote a book 2,000 years ago, okay, that claims that you go in hell if you don't listen. I don't feel anything for that, okay? So I understand what I feel. I understand what I see. I understand nature. I understand all of those things, and I feel those things. But those stories from patriarchal religion, I don't feel those at all. Therefore, I don't accept them as real. Okay? They're just stories written in a book by a bunch of men. Forced upon people that didn't even want it. Okay? There you go. Beauty spells or internet or internal health. You look great. Girl, all of the above. Sprinkle, sprinkle. If you want to study what the science is after death, study ancient Egypt and the hieroglyphs. All those hieroglyphs are symbols and they translate to scientific terms. Okay. Like, think about it. Feathers. What are feathers? They're plasma collectors. Okay. That's why you get a feather duster and the electricity or the AKA the plasma lets dust stick to it. So when you see a feather in ancient Egypt, that is a scientific thing. It represents plasma gatherer. Okay. All that you need to know is left in symbols and science. So you just need to become a student. How do you redirect your energy back to yourself? Like, what always helps you redirect and keep your energy? I don't give it away. I treat it like money. Sprinkle, sprinkle. I spend it on what's beneficial to me and I reinvest. So when you look at the ancient hieroglyphs of Egypt, there's a symbol of maybe a hawk, or an eye, that means a perspective of something up high with feathers. Isn't that what they describe biblical angels as? Plasma, the watchers, conscious plasma. Y'all need to go do your research. I tell you, y'all are curious about after death. Go study ancient Egypt. Go study quantum physics. Go study plasma. Go study symbolism. You will know exactly what happens after death because it's all there. They're not going to tell you because they can't control that. They can't control you if you don't have anything to fear. Okay. Now, when they say, "Oh, you're gonna weigh your heart and your on a scale with a feather, and it has to be lighter," you know what your heart is? Is your frequency. Is your frequency lighter and higher than a feather, a plasma collector? Okay. Is your frequency high? Are you scared of everything? You living in fear? You scared of everything? You can't move? Everything you do is because of a consequence? Did you really live life? You know? Are you negative? Do you do negative things or you fear everything? You got a bunch of superstitions, you know? Is your frequency high? High enough, high enough to equal the plasma? Can you transition into conscious plasma? Can you become some of them watchers? Can you give some of that information to them people down there that's trying to do something? You know what I'm saying? Time doesn't exist for you either when you become that. So you gotta study. You gotta understand what it is. Okay. If you look up um ancient Egyptian hieroglyphs and electricity, remember, plasma is a form of electricity as well. That's why they had electricity back then because they understood how to harness plasma. They understood what it was. They understood the transition of it. They understood life, death, afterlife. They understood all of it. They wrote it down. They drew it. They did all that stuff. It's sitting there waiting for y'all to discover it. But a lot of y'all just think it's just, it's evil or it's pagan. That's science. If you know how to interpret, if you know what you're looking at, that's science right there. That's quantum physics over there. Written in a way that wouldn't be lost in translation. Okay. See, if I go to ancient Egypt and look around, look at them symbols, I'm not going to be saying, "Oh, this was an ancient time when the people was ruling," and I'm looking at, "Oh, look at all this good science that they were leaving behind. I wonder why it took so long for people to figure this out." Or people really knew what happened after that way back in those days. Okay. Or it was just supplanted into their subconscious mind so that their conscious plasma could just follow some instructions and get on out of here. Okay. And I've explained this 1,000,000,000 times on this channel. That's why before they cremate you, when you die, you wait 3 days because that's when all of the gases and the chemistry of your body is altered to allow most of the gases or plasma uh, to escape your body and your consciousness. Okay. So then you're just left with this vessel. Um, so you got 3 days to get up out of there consciously and, all your little energies or your spirit. Okay. And even in the ancient Egyptian days, they would wait a certain amount of days before they start the mummification process of a body. And a lot of those chemicals and herbs that they use was to extract the gases and the plasma out of the body. Okay. In the canopic jars, they would use a sodium nitrate to extract and get all the water out, which is water holds plasma. And then they would position them in, depending on their nobility, they would put them in certain places. And gold and the things that they would bury them with, treasures, were catalyst of electricity. Okay. If you look in phones and air conditioners, they got copper, gold. It's a catalyst to Make frequency higher so that when your energy or your plasma does escape your dead body, that it has a catalyst to give it more energy to get toward the next phase, okay? So a lot of that stuff y'all are just seeing as mundane, material things when it's really scientific. You said ionization, yeah, all of that stuff, baby, all of it. And it will start to make perfect sense if you study quantum physics first. Then you look at the ancient Egyptian hieroglyphs. Then you look at their embalming process. You look at their mummification process. It's all just going to make sense scientifically. If you study chemistry, alchemy, quantum physics, you're going to just see it. A scientist will see it. If you're a scientist and you study ancient Egyptian hieroglyphs and their Book of the Dead and all that kind of stuff, all you're going to see is science and alchemy and chemistry. Okay. Can you share a spell for successful business? Yes, manifest more clients. Manifest more business making, money making ideas. You just got to manifest. Write it down. And then take steps towards making your business better. You gotta step first. Okay. You gotta manifest it, write it down, make more plans to better your business. You gotta step forward. Right? You gotta advertise or you gotta do something. Because that's like the catalyst. That's like the gold. You do something, the physical aspect is the catalyst, which is going to bring it to you faster. It's going to up the frequency of your manifestation when you put something towards it. Okay. That's why when they get you in that church, they pass that little collection plate around because that's the catalyst. Okay. You're praying, they're stealing your energy. They say, "Here, put this money in this basket." You put that money in that basket, hoping your prayers come true. They take it and their prayers do come true. Okay? The same thing. It's just a catalyst. You got to put something on it and towards it. You say, so great how you break things down. You like that? You should like my book, How to Manifest with Magic and Dark Cosmic Energy by a SHERA goddess on Amazon. It's also linked in the description bar of books I've written. Mm-hmm. You shy, but you want to earn through content. Well, don't show your face. You can just flip the camera the other way and film other stuff. Okay. Some people are just filming their hands talking about products or whatever. Or I've seen some people don't even show their face. All you see is the back of their head. They just be talking and doing their little cottage core crap. All you see is the back of their head with a bow and some old school dress on. They don't ever show their face. So figure it out if you're shy. There's always a way to get what you want to get. I missed your super chat. Hold on. You manifest a new. Okay, Mercedes. I already read this. So you send another one. When you are more. I already answered that. How do you think humans came on Earth? Their mothers. Sprinkle, sprinkle. Say, how did animals get here? How did trees get here? Okay. Does it really matter if the Earth is round or flat? Do you think the chess pieces ask the other chess pieces how the board got here? What about witchcraft and spiritual monitor? Girl, I don't know. If it ain't beneficial, rebuke it. Send it back. If it ain't beneficial, don't accept it. Don't believe it. There you go. Does Earth life feel fragile after waking up? No, because Earth life is just a phase. Okay. All right. So, thank you for getting my book. I'm sure they got my book. Thank you. But we got to take a short break, you guys. Here's my book. I'll be right back. I'm back. Okay. Sorry, that was just my little book cover. So now y'all know how to find it on Amazon, and it's also should be linked in the description bar. I wrote that book many, many years ago. Okay. Okay, Chantress, you said your super chat is way up there. Hold on, hold on. I'm still looking for it because you said it's way up here. I don't see it, girl. I think I found it. Did you see the New Age versus 20 Christians? Oh, yeah, I did see that, girl. I was laughing the whole time. I'm like, what is this? Okay, let me read some more of these. Do you believe in binding through food or blood? I believe you, whatever you believe works will work for you, baby. Is it normal to not sleep once awake? It's normal to sit up and think about stuff if your mind is constantly going because you have so much mental, clarity and knowledge now. I think it'll calm down after a while and then you'll be like able to sleep. But it's like an awakening, literally just like you're excited. You got all this new knowledge, things you always wanted to know. Now you actually know instead of just hope or get believe. Now you actually know, so it's kind of like that. hmm But I did see that 20 Christians. Like, why take 20 Christians and one person that actually has knowledge? That was like that was unfair. But she's still like, what's her name? Jasmine. She still answered all those questions, had her information, and nobody could really debunk what she was talking about. So I mean, it worked out in her favor for sure. He said they're calling us demons and narcissists. Okay, well, labels never hurt nobody, girl. We we calling them brainwashed and ignorant. So I mean, I'd rather be called a demon and a narcissist than a dumb, brainwashed, ignorant person. Okay, at least they fear us. Okay, I think Erica Badu said they fear us just the same. On and on and on and on. The cycle keeps spinning like a rolling stone. They, I just think they need a mirror. Okay, those people are literally brainwashed and trained to defend patriarchy. So I mean, that's their job. What you think they're gonna do? Just curious, is there any esoteric meaning for a person getting very skinny? For example, slip. Yeah, not eating. Sprinkle, sprinkle. You stop eating food, that's what happens. You get skinny, baby. The esoteric behind getting skinny, it's mostly women, right? They're, in my opinion, the one who's getting the most attention as the skinny person is called. Now, I'm not talking about her in a bad way because I love her. Okay. Shout out to Ariana Grande. She made a song years and years ago called God is a Woman. She got the role of Glinda, the Good Witch. Witch. Okay. Now, to deplete and reduce the divine feminine energy is to make them look as if they are on their way out, if you know what I mean. But then, since we're getting into celebrity stuff, then we have another person who is a man who gets up and sheds his blood on camera for 30 minutes. These are also archetypes. These are stories. These are the same thing. They're just showing you stuff in a different way. Same old story. Okay. They're trying to phase out divine femininity and bring back male patriarchal shedding and all this crap. No, I'm not buying it. I don't care. Give me my money. Okay. Once women start getting money, it's over. Okay. Once women's pockets surpass men's pockets, it's literally over. They're trying to distract you from getting your money, baby. You can't work. You're not eating. You can't work. You can't work. You can't get no money. You can't. You don't have enough fat on your body. You can't reproduce. You're no longer a symbol of fertility, but a symbol of something opposite. Okay. So eat, but don't eat too much because then you'll be a symbol of no discipline. Do air signs have an advantage? I don't know. Do they? All signs have their good qualities. Just make the best of them. Mhm. Why are you getting Christian ads, girl? The algorithm picked it up, girl. They gonna keep trying. They're trying to get them tithes and offerings back in that church basket for the building fund. Okay. But anybody who dated a pastor, yeah, I already know that stuff corrupt. Y'all representatives ain't representing. Maybe that's what went after the influencers because the influencers are living better lives than the representatives of Christianity and a lot of these religions. Y'all got a good life over there. Ooh, that y'all look good, abundant. Y'all ain't getting in no trouble. Y'all are good examples. Well, hurry up, let's turn them into Christians because the ones we got is terrible. Okay, that didn't work. You know. Mhm. Let's get rich goddesses. You said is birth control bad for women spiritually? No, having a dusty baby from a dusty man is bad for you spiritually because you're gonna be connected to dust for the rest of your life. Okay, that's bad for you spiritually. Taking control over your own body and having free will to do what you want, that's not bad spiritually. Okay, because you have a clean diet, you eat right, your vibration can be as high as it needs to be, especially if you have positive thoughts. What's the difference between spirituality, occultism, and esoteric? Spirituality is how you feel naturally without being brainwashed with religion, the things that make sense that are beyond. Occultism is a study of the hidden things that are around you that people keep as hidden knowledge and it's not freely given. So, like symbolism, um, alchemy and all this kind of stuff, that could be considered occultism because it's just not widely taught in schools, but it's more of a hidden, knowledge that you have to seek out. And esoteric is more like pertaining to the description of, you know, the subject of something. So the esoteric meaning of something versus the symbolic meaning of something versus the literal meaning of something. Okay. So the esoteric meaning of a symbol versus what it means on a sign outside versus what it means to a little kid. So it just depends on what it's being used for. Okay. You said, tell these people these clone conspiracies is dumb. Y'all eating clone meat. Shoot. They done cloned all them chickens. Y'all are the clone experiment. What do you think about Mormon religion? Silly. Sprinkle, sprinkle. All religion is silly, no matter which one it is. Do you still need humility or ego after all elements? You need common sense and you need free will. And you need to understand how to control yourself, your emotions, and you need to also understand a little bit of psychology so you can understand if you're being manipulated. And so also you can learn how to manipulate. Okay. All of that stuff that they're talking about there is to control you as well. So if you can't control yourself, other people can. If you want to be if you want to have humility, make sure you're so great that you actually need it to communicate with people so that you can get on their level. Do you understand? So in my opinion, humility means I am so great that I have to pretend I'm stupid to sit here and talk to some people. You know what I'm saying? That's humility. Bringing yourself down a couple notches to talk to the people that wouldn't understand you otherwise. To me, that's humility. Michael Jackson had humility when he was around people that, weren't as talented as him. He had to act like he was just another normal person and that he was not Michael Jackson, the king of all music, pop, whatever. He had to act like he was just another celebrity. That's what he had to act like. That was his version of humility. He had to talk soft. He had to be polite, but deep down inside who he knew he really was. Okay. So in my opinion, that is humility when you are so great that in order to be relatable to other people, you got to bring yourself down a notch so you don't seem like I'm better than all of you. That's humility. Okay. If you don't feel that way, don't humble yourself to anybody. That's just a consideration and an act of kindness. You still do letters in the Patreon? No, I don't do those anymore, but I do have it so you can message me and I message you back in a day or 2 or 3. Yes. So that's what humility really is. It's being so great that you got to bring yourself down to be relatable again on your own free will. He was so humble with people. Yeah, because he understood that not everybody had his discipline, his talent, his skills, his knowledge, his, drive, whatever. So that's what being great is about, recognizing your greatness and not taking it out on other people that they're not as great, you know. You said humility equals point of entry. No, I don't think so. I think humility, free willing humility. Like if I said, okay, I'm going to be, if you mean like humiliating someone? Humiliation is a choice as well. Either you take it or you don't. Okay. It's a choice. Either you accept it or you don't. It's just a choice. Only the person that the humility or the humiliation is being pushed towards has the power to accept it or not. Some people accept it, some people don't. It is a choice. Everything is a choice and everything is free will. So if you don't accept it, you can't be humiliated. Okay? How to heal endometrium. Girl, I'm not a doctor, baby. Go to the doctor. Sprinkle. I don't know. Stop eating meat. There you go. A lot of y'all's medical problems can be healed by diet, honestly. Mm-hmm. You said, if you think about it, so many celebrities have been absolutely humiliated, but a lot of people just move on. You've been okay, yeah. Well, a lot of people. Okay, so a lot of people accept certain things. You know how like I accept certain things and I don't care. When you just accept that people are gonna try to do certain things to you and you don't care because you know that they're just gonna do it anyway, you don't give it any attention, you don't give it any energy, you don't pay it any mind. You just say, okay, well, that's your job. And I'm glad I don't have your job. And I'm glad that I love myself and can focus on something else that actually matters and don't care enough to even blink an eyelash. So you hold all the power. It's just People don't know how to control their emotions or their reactions, and that is how people can get to you. If you're not in control of self, if you don't know who you are, if you are not doing things that are beneficial for you, anybody can get to you. Anybody can take you off your course because you don't have a course. You're just aimlessly wandering around like the fool on the tarot card, you know? So when you know who you are, you can control you. You understand what's best for you and what's not good for you. And you react to what's good for you and you don't react to what's not good for you and you keep it moving. That's that's literally putting in that work of self. And nobody can take you off of that. Mhm. Sprinkle, sprinkle. Yeah, you gotta master yourself. You know how they always call like people ascended masters. They've mastered their self. They've risen above what people are able to do and how to get them to react. That's what that means. Like you've ascended past all that BS. You're in control of yourself. You're a master of self. That nothing can bother you. You're literally unbothered. You don't care. You're above that. Okay? You have mastered the self. So when you master yourself, can't nobody else master you, control you or nothing. So I'd be mad. And the whole point of, you know, the whole Jesus story is that he mastered himself and he was unbothered, he didn't care. And he never started a religion. Okay. He didn't want millions of people killed and forced to worship him. You think he cared about that stupid stuff? You know, if he's a real life person, if he was a real person that walked the earth, do you think he would want millions of people killed in his name to worship him and forced on forced on them, even though the stories that they wrote and included in the Bible has not 100% things to do with him, but other people before him, people he didn't agree with, you know? Like they just used the whole Jesus story to package some other BS. So I don't think, if he was a real person, he would want y'all doing this, which I'll be doing. He would be mad. He was like, what is this mess? What is this BS? You know? So why do you think they say he died for our sins? So you don't take accountability, so that you can't be in control of yourself, so you can't master yourself, so you always look to other people to do stuff for you, so you don't take accountability, because when you take accountability, you start taking action. That's why. So if I took accountability for my mistakes and I said, "Oh my gosh, I made a mistake. Let me correct that and be better and not make that mistake again, and let me move forward and get more out of the situation that's beneficial to me and my future generations." But if I need a scapegoat or someone else to put the blame on, or someone else to take accountability, or someone else to reach out to, I can't reach within. So therefore, I can never really become a master of myself because I'm too busy depending on something else that don't know my name, that ain't here with me, that ain't breathing the same air. You know what I'm saying? A story that was plagiarized back in the day, I have to depend on that in order to feel like I forgive myself, because instead of forgiving myself, I have to seek outside forgiveness from something else because I don't know how to forgive myself. And when you can't forgive yourself, you're going to repeat the same stuff over and over. So it's a cycle. So when you can forgive yourself and the whatever you've done wrong, in your opinion, with your personalized morals, not the morals somebody gave you from the patriarchy, but your own personalized morals. If you went against your own personalized morals, and you take full accountability for it, it's easier to forgive yourself and move forward and get over it and do something different. Versus when someone told you not to do something, threatened you with violence, punishment, hell, then told you some man came and died for you, even though he didn't have a choice, and that your sins will be forgiven if you accept some man that didn't even know your name, didn't have nothing to do with you, didn't even want to be there. That's stupid. And I can't understand it. So it's only so you don't take accountability so that you can't improve, so they can continue to control you. Okay? It's to keep your thinking from being free. Literally, it's a trap. So, you ever notice that people do a lot of bad things in life who can't forgive themselves? They run to the church, they become Jesus freaks. They used to be freaks in the streets, now they freaks in the church because they can't forgive themselves for all the crap that they've done. So they need outside forgiveness because they can't forgive themselves. They did too much. They did too much dirt. That's what you always find in the church. Them former people that done did everything under the sun, can't forgive themselves, went to rehab, went to prison, went to jail. They throw them a Bible, and that's what you get. Okay. You need some freaks, go to church. That's where they all at. That's where they all ended up. Now, nothing against if you can't forgive yourself because you done did too much and you need outside forgiveness in order to feel like you deserve to forgive yourself sooner or later, fine, great, whatever. Yeah, I mean, you messed up too much. You don't feel like you deserve to be forgiven. So now you got to seek outside forgiveness because you can't forgive yourself. That's all that is. But if you weren't given religion in the first place, you would have already started there and ended there instead of have to seek outside. You might have been in more control of yourself and rationalize the things that you were doing to benefit yourself a little bit more if you hadn't been forced with religion and guilt, you know? So it's just a way of thinking. It really is. You go to church on the rich side of town? Yeah, I mean, ain't nothing wrong with going anywhere to socialize. You can step into a church, you can sit there, you can wink at the rich dude that just drove up in a Benz, but you don't have to believe anything up in there. Okay? Do you think those pastors in those mega churches really believe what they're talking about? They believe in that collection plate, though. Do you understand? Most of those pastors in the mega churches high up in the occult, okay, and they know exactly what it is. They're gonna get your money regardless, okay, because it's too easy to take from people that don't know no better. Yeah, they all know it's a game, baby. Sprinkle, sprinkle. Yeah, just because you read about a religion, just because you go to a church, just because you date somebody that goes to church or is religious doesn't mean you believe in it. It just means you're comfortable around people that have different beliefs than you. That's all it means. Do you feel like major corporations that keep you in a state of need and stress are parasitic entities that steal humanity create? I feel like if you pay too much attention to stuff, you paying them. You know what I mean? It's all free will. Are you paying them attention? Exactly. You don't have to pay them no attention. You don't have to give a reaction. You don't have to pay attention. You can scroll on by. You can click off. You can look in the mirror. You can go take a bubble bath. You can go eat something nice. You don't have to pay them a dime. You don't have to pay them an inkling of attention. You choose to. So it's all free will. Okay? So When you're in control of yourself, you're also in control of what you pay attention to. If you treat your attention and your emotions like money, you ain't gonna be spending it on everything. Okay? What if one is pregnant with a dusty that has been deported? I know I don't want to marry again, and that I'll just be collecting bags from everyone. Everyone is advising me to abort the baby. You are 31. I say do what you want, baby. You are the bringer of life to this planet, and you have a conscious mind and you got free will. So whatever you want to do, what's best for you and future generations, you are a woman and you have the power and the authority to choose. Sprinkle, sprinkle. All right. And yes, that is the wrong channel. So it's this wrong channel. But remember, your goddess status, you choose. I will tell y'all this. Most of those people that are preaching to y'all in the church know better. Okay? That's it. That's all I'm gonna tell y'all. They just gonna sit up there and collect your money, baby, and put on a show for you. So, do what you gotta do and do what you want. So, yeah. They look at people that blindly follow religion. They look at them as people they can harness energy from, people they can control, and I don't want to be looked at like that. Come on. Not by choice. And guilt is such a low vibration. They want people to stay dependent and compliant. There are so many men who use religion to control and abuse. The news is another way to play it as default in public places. That's right. I don't watch the news and I don't listen to men. Especially religious men. Now, if you're talking about some money and how to get some, I'm listening to that. If you're talking about something I'm interested in, I will listen to you then. But if you're trying to manipulate me and talk to me about religion and how I should be this, and I stopped listening a long time ago. Okay. So, when you don't believe in something, it has no power over you. The same way religion doesn't have any power over you when you don't believe in it. Okay. So when y'all ask me about magic, spell work, protection, it's the same as religion. If you don't believe in it, it has no power over you. There's nothing you can do with it. It's just there and it exists. And whether you want to accept it as a belief or not is literally up to you. Okay. You said heavy, I don't listen to men. He said they teach you to never question anything. And that's exactly when people start leaving. So that's exactly why I never believed any part of Christianity because it couldn't be explained. You know, I was asking questions as a child. So why is this and why is that? And they were like, "Don't worry about it, just leave it. Don't question God." I was like, "Well, then y'all must be stupid over here at dumb because y'all don't know the answer." So I figured I'll go find them. Okay, that was my attitude as a child. So if y'all don't have answers, y'all must be stupid and dumb. So I don't want to be a part of y'all because I'm too smart for this. Bye. That's what I felt like. That was literally what I thought in my brain as a child. When you ask questions about religion, I felt that, okay, well, maybe I'm just smarter than everybody else. And maybe I just need to go seek my own answers and these people stupid and don't know. That's what I felt like, literally. And I was very young, like 3, 4 years old. And when you ask questions and they don't get no answers, kids are curious. They want the answer. Why is the sky blue? Why is this? Why is that? Why? And if you can't answer that question, them kids gonna start looking at you like you dumb. You know? That's why religion really didn't take on me. Because I was asking too many questions and nobody was giving enough answers. Okay, so I found my own answers and scientific answers and all of the above and way more than I ever anticipated it. and it was a good thing. It did not lead me to religion at all. Led me actually away from it. So that's why they don't want you question it, because you're gonna lead you away. If you just accept it and shut up and do what they say and fall in line, you ain't going nowhere. But I told y'all at a young age, I just thought everybody was dumb. That's why religion didn't take. Because I mean, if you really think about it, as a child, as, not even in the kindergarten yet, if you think people that are surrounding you who are supposed to be smart, teachers, leaders of the community, parents, if you think that they don't know an answer to something, you don't think that they're very smart. So then you start seeking your own knowledge and whatever. Hmm. You said one time you said the Bible was plagiarized and it checks out. Of course it is. It's not even the oldest book. It's not even the oldest text. Of course it's plagiarized. Okay. You say it's like when Muslim preaches Islam to Christians, they don't believe it. I don't believe in any religion. Don't even matter which one it is, because they're all patriarchal and they're all man-made. So why would I believe? Unless you can teach me some science and some facts and what this is and what that is with scientific backup, I'm not believing it anyway. Okay. It's just a good old myth, a good old story, a good old patriarchal spin on nature out of jealousy. That's all it is to me. Good for y'all. Y'all, I mean, y'all fooled people by force, because if you got to force people, you didn't really fool them. You know, it's kind of like they tried, but it didn't work. No one was converting willingly, so then they forced it on you, because the whole interpretation and patriarchy, patriarchal form of spirituality turned into religion, took out the female aspect of everything in most of these religions. It just backfired. It didn't work. So then they became mad and just started forcing it on people because no one wanted it. Okay. Nobody wanted that stuff. Nobody believed it. They were like, you know, y'all silly. So a bunch of men gathered together and said, we're going to go here and make these people believe by forcing them and killing them and doing this and doing that. They're going to be scared, so scared that they're just going to believe, and they're not going to say anything and do anything about it. And they're going to tell their kids they better believe or else this is what will happen. So they didn't even believe. It was just forced on them. And now you have dumb idiots defending it. Like, oh, well, do you know that that was forced on people that didn't want it? Do you know that's the equivalent to, and you're still going to defend it? Exactly. Defend, if you're going to defend anything, defend the knowledge and the benefits, but not the actual religion. You see? Because that was forced and created by man. And it led to the most wars in history. So why would you even defend that? And then you pretend that you're woke and get on TikTok and Instagram and talk about you shouldn't drink this, you shouldn't do that, you shouldn't shop here, but you still believe in patriarchal religion, which has sparked the most wars and the most killings and the most genocide out of anything in the planet Earth history. That's why I tell people they're just fake woke. Okay? That's why I just roll my eyes and be like, whatever, yo, this is dumb. So, exactly. It's just fake woke to me. So you can't be an activist. You can't stand up for this. You can't stand up for that if you are religious because you're defending the entire beginning of it. You're defending the source of it. And you're giving energy to the source of it spiritually and following it blindly. But then you want to protest corporations and businesses that are giving money and everything to other people that's doing the exact same thing that religions did, but you're still a part of that religion. You see? So it doesn't make sense. So you can't be a hypocrite and be fake woke online if you're still a part of man-made religion. It just doesn't work. Hmm. So I'm just gonna look at y'all crazy when y'all start doing dumb stuff. Just, like calling people fake woke, like you're just fake woke. Goodbye. All right. You said it made you sad when Lady Grave Dancer switched. I think I remember her. Yeah, they be trying to scare people, girl. They be threatening. They be trying to think they be trying to tell y'all something bad gonna happen. Like when they try to make the influencers turn to Christianity, girl, they be doing the worst stuff, like try to scare you and stuff. But if you know a lot, you can't really be scared because you know it's not real. Okay. Like I used to scare people. We used to put like speakers under the bed, put like we used to like record our voice and put like get out and put it under people's beds. And we used to like do pranks on people. It was funny when we were kids. And so, when you're a prankster yourself, when you're a trickster yourself, you can't fall for the okie doke because you can see through that mess real quick. Okay. Like, yeah, silly. Although you agree with most of what you're saying, Islam is not girl. You don't get out of here with that nonsense. All religion that is man made is patriarchal because men made it. Women did not make that. Women don't need religion. Okay? Women did not change the calendar to have leap year an odd number of days in a month when the calendar was already perfect with 13 months and the same amount of days in each month based on her menstrual cycle. Okay? All religion that is man made is patriarchal. Okay? Because it goes by the solar calendar and it was forced on people that didn't want it. That is spiritual. Great. It is patriarchy. And all religions are that. Period. Don't try to defend it. It is what it is. Now, you can believe in it, you can stay with it, but it is. Okay? It is what it is. There is no defense. The history will tell you. Okay. History will tell you. It is. Right. All religion is man-made. Women don't need religion. Sprinkle, sprinkle. Does that mean there's 13 zodiac signs? It sure does. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know it. It was reintroduced years ago. That little serpent thing, that little serpent. Mm-hmm. 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 Any religion created by women? No. We don't need religion. Think about it. Does God need a religion? If you believe in a God, does a goddess need a religion? We don't need people to worship us. They already do naturally. Every time we go outside, hello, mama. You know, we don't need that. We are that. You know, men needed it because they didn't have it. Thank you. Sprinkle, sprinkle. So if you were a man a long time ago before religion was invented and you saw this beautiful, vibrant, fertile woman just walking naked around, bringing life to the planet, feeding from her breast, looking beautiful in the sunlight, glistening off of her curve, animals and birds coming up to her like on the Disney movies. Ah, wouldn't you think she was a goddess when all of her body, mind, energy cycles aligned with the heavens naturally? Wouldn't you be mad that you didn't have that same connection to the universe, to the moon, to the cycles of nature? Wouldn't you be upset about that? Wouldn't you study, observe, and try to recreate it? And when it didn't work, you were so mad and you used your brute strength that was created to build and protect, and you used it in the wrong way because you were jealous, because you didn't have a connection to the cosmos. So you you got together with all your little buddies and changed the calendar. Now we have all this crazy 29 days, leap year, 31 days, 30, 12 months when there's 13 months and the same amount of days in each month. Isn't that just jealousy? If you want to control a group of people, you deny them of their knowledge of self, you deny them of their divinity and their connection to the cosmos, you rewrite the story, and then you force it down their throats. That's what you do. So when people tell me, blah, 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 that's all I really hear. Okay. Women don't need religion. Men do. Okay. Men need it. We don't. Thank you. Sprinkle, sprinkle. Thank you, Gwendolyn. And the funny thing is that all this is backfiring on them right now anyway. I know a lot of people, especially a lot of men who wish religion was never even created or patriarchy because it ain't doing nothing. It's like a failed government experiment, a failed patriarchal experiment. We just letting it play itself out. Mhm. Yeah, we are the religion, darling. We were the inspiration for religion, but they tried to twist it and make it patriarchal because they were jealous of our position. That's literally it. So I feel that's how I feel. That's how I walk around thinking every day. That's why a lot of stuff don't work on me because I know who I am. Mhm. Sprinkle, sprinkle. You said, "Is it okay to use an obsession spell on a man?" No, use it on yourself, ma'am. That's what you need. Use the obsession spell on yourself. Become self-obsessed instead of male-centered. Okay? When you're self-obsessed, you'll have more than one man being obsessed over you because people treat you how you treat yourself. Love you, Shira. What do you think about trans women trying to say they know womanhood more than real women? Da, 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 da. Girl, I don't care what they say. As long as they're happy, they're not trying to force religion on me, I do not care. So honestly, I feel that honoring the divine feminine by wanting to claim it on that level so bad is a compliment. Okay. If you want to identify as a woman and be on the team that's winning, fine. If you want to be on a winning team, fine. I don't care. The more the merrier. Okay. If you want to stray so far from masculinity and what it means to be a man, and you want to know what it means to be a woman, wonderful. You're seeking the divine within. Okay. I also feel that's why a lot of men who are DL or straight presenting are also becoming more feminine because we're entering into the age of the divine feminine. And only the true divine masculine is going to make it through. Anyone who can be swayed, who doesn't have a strong sense of self as a man, is just going to just have the divine feminine energy on them. That's just it. There you go. What do you think caused the male loneliness epidemic? I feel like there are a deep underlying reason. Because honestly, I feel like the male loneliness epidemic is just patriarchy backfiring, religion backfiring. It's not working for them no more. Because once women got rights, money, and a sense of self, a lot of them just woke up and realized that it's not really worth it unless that person, that man is doing the most and can impress them. Okay. And women have evolved and have been evolved actually way more than men because men didn't really have to evolve because the system was put in place for them. So patriarchy actually impeded their growth spiritually and mentally. And they're not as evolved as women who had to go through this, had to go through that, had to figure out this, had to figure out that, had to make it even though the world was against them, blah, 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 even though they were villainified. Women had to go through all that. So they naturally evolved to a higher point, and they were already evolved, but they're evolved, and men didn't have to evolve because the system was in place to cater to them at the level that they have stayed at. So now they have to play catch up. They have to put in work. They got to do more because the women have surpassed them or are surpassing them each day. And since if you can't, since you're not as evolved emotionally, mentally, or spiritually, it's hard to impress a woman unless you just give her your paycheck. You know what I mean? Would you choose for your body after what? Girl, I don't even know what that after death, spiritual cremation. Girl, it's secret. Sprinkle, sprinkle. All great alchemists keep that a secret. All right. There you go. I think that's also part of your spiritual journey to figure out how you want to be, processed after death. I think that's part of your spiritual journey for you to figure it out. What's best for you. Okay, some people choose burial, some people choose cremation, some people get shot in outer space after they've been cremated, some people want to be put in the water. Where do you want to go? I'm going to think about it scientifically. Okay, so sprinkle, sprinkle. Yeah, so a lot of the influencers were definitely gang stalked, threatened, and scared back into Christianity because they were getting too many followers and they were influencing too many people to seek spirituality outside of patriarchal religion. But, it's all good. I think it honestly, and I'm not trying to bash anyone, but I think it kind of separated the scholars, the alchemists, and the people that just dibbled and dabbled, you know? So happy you're on today. Thank you for your wisdom, speaking eloquently, and making us understand. You helped me spiritually. Gorgeous as always. Thank you, ma'am. Sprinkle, sprinkle. Mm-hmm. Yep, yep, yep. I understand why y'all are always like focusing on trends, trends, trends. If you don't agree with something, don't pay attention to it. If you don't have the same beliefs as somebody or the same opinions as somebody, agree to disagree and move on. Everybody can get along. It doesn't matter. I don't care. You know, everybody's here. Everybody got a pulse. Live life, get your money. Arguing about something is not going to do nothing to change it. Just get your money. Those people that are out there arguing about if the earth is flat or round, and it don't matter. Still got to pay taxes. Okay? Sprinkle, sprinkle. You said, who are the influencers? Just any of them that got scared back into Christianity? I'm not laughing at them. I'm just saying there's too many to name. But they literally harassed those people back into that. It wasn't by free will. The same way that they made people Christians in the first place by uh, violence, by threats, by even worse than that. This is what they did digitally, um, harassment and all that kind of stuff. That's what they did to them people online. They did the same thing. They forced their hand. They forced them with fear and threats, the same way they made other Christians. Okay? They don't really want to be there doing that. Promise you. They're just scared out of it. And a lot of people will tell you. You ask them, look at their eyes. You'll see it. They'll be like, it wasn't by choice. It was out of fear. You said maybe they found God. They wouldn't they would have found them without force. Okay? They would have found whatever they were looking for without being coerced, forced, gang stalked. They would have found him without being harassed. They would have found him without their families being threatened. They would have found him that way if they were looking for him. Okay? That's what they were going through. Okay? So they just go the easiest thing to do to stop all the rigmarole was just to accept it. And so that's what a lot of them did. Your opinions on how to behave. I only work with men. You like being feminine. Girl, this is the wrong channel. Look, look, look. You see this right here? Where it says a SHERA goddess? You're on the wrong channel. Okay. Save the question for next time, baby. This is a journey to go on alone. Exactly. So, most of those influencers that turned to Christianity were forced to do it, not by their own free will, but by harassment and threats. Okay, just so y'all know, so y'all don't be harassing them even further by saying, "Oh, you're a sellout." Oh, you're girl. They was trying to protect their family, and they was trying to get the harassment to stop, so they just gave in. Okay. Hi, Shira. Has any of those organizations ever reached out to you? Girl, they tried. Girl, I was just laughing at them, asking them stupid questions. I'm too smart to fall for the okie doke, baby. You know, I think I think there's a limit to what they can do and whatever how far they can push the button because I think there's certain thresholds they won't cross, but I feel like it didn't work with me because I knew too much, and when you know too much, it's never gonna fly, you know? So once they realized I was too well educated on certain things, that the fear would not make sense. You know what I mean? So if the fear itself doesn't make sense, it can't it can't work. You know what I mean? It's kind of like if you don't believe in something and let's say some people are scared of clowns and some people aren't. And let's say somebody wants to really scare you and they send a clown and you're not afraid of clowns. And you just look at it and you like, "Oh, I love your nose. Honk honk. Oh, what nice shoes you have." It was to that effect with me. You know what I mean? But if you send in one of them killer clowns from that movie, Killer Clowns from Outer Space, and somebody's scared of clowns, girl, they're gonna do whatever you say, and they're gonna run, and they're gonna be like, "Oh," you know. So it's kind of like that. They didn't have enough to scare people that knew too much. You know what I mean? So that they don't even try to convert those type of people anymore because they can literally, you know, break down things scientifically, metaphorically, psychologically, and spiritually. And so there's no match for religion. Okay. So they just leave you alone because you're too smart. All right. Thank you, ma'am. It happened to a lot of them, girl. They didn't know enough. You said they probably did something so horrible and are begging for fake forgiveness. Yeah, if you don't do nothing wrong, nothing could come out to the light, baby. You ain't doing wrong in the dark. They can't threaten you. They can't say, "I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that." There ain't nothing there. You live in your truth. Nothing you can't fear nothing. You said you love clowns? Exactly. Mhm. They would literally send bots and people in my comments to harass, and they would be like, "Oh, you better repent. There's a demon behind you." I was like, "I know, I called him." But you gotta take control of it. "Oh, girl, that's just Percy back there." You know, so a lot of times people were like, "This is gonna happen," and they try to plant seeds into your mind. It's like, I create my own life, and I don't believe in destiny, and just because you say something is gonna happen, you know, most people say stuff and they don't ever do it anyway. So, and, you know, it's literally like people will try you, and when they can't succeed, they just go away and give up because it doesn't work on you. The fear factor has to be there. If the fear factor isn't there, the whole thing can't work. Okay. If the fear is there, then stuff can be planted. But if there's no fear, it can't really be implemented. Uh-huh. Yeah, like, "Oh, okay, Ann, you ain't scaring me. Sounds made up to me." You said, "Is it a religious organization doing it?" Girl, I don't know. I didn't care enough to ask. Who is this? Who are you? I don't care enough. When you don't care, you ain't scared, you stay unbothered, they just go away, literally. It's also part of not caring what people think, not fearing people that you don't even know, you know, and staying on your own path and trusting yourself and not living in fear and looking outside of self for answer. That's what it will get you. Unbothered, Okay. And a couple of those influencers reached out to me to help them. And I told them what to do. Some of them, but they couldn't do it, girl. They just couldn't do it. They just gave in. Girl. They was like, I can't do it anymore. I'm just gonna give in. I thought, okay, I know the truth. All right. But you know what? They don't really want to be there. They were forced there out of fear. So I'm just letting y'all know. Sprinkle, sprinkle. And I bet one of them is gonna come out, maybe one or two or three, and they're gonna tell you the truth too. You said what? You watched my old video? Thank you, girl. Yeah, all the old videos are up. Y'all definitely watch them. I see people trying to clip them and stuff. Yeah. You can't really put fear into someone's mind who knows more and have been researching and learning, knowing this stuff since like fifth grade. Okay. There's no amount. Like when you live this life, you're a lifelong student of something and you know it well enough to understand it on different levels, scientifically, psychologically, metaphysically, literally, symbolically, or whatever, all every degree is they can't really do anything because it's like they're trying to scare you with like puppets or something from from preschool. It doesn't work. And I know that they tried it on other people. It didn't work on them either. So there's few people they tried it on, didn't work on them either. Can you recommend books about understanding and decoding? Yeah, I have a list right there under the description bar. It says spiritual items and books that I recommend. And you can click on that. Okay. But I gotta go, y'all. Sprinkle, sprinkle. You about to order my book? Thank you, ma'am. I appreciate you. You said when the student is ready, I appreciate your channels. Thank you. Okay, well, I'll be back here in 6 months. No, just kidding. Y'all know I don't come over here often, but I felt like a lot of people should know what happened to a lot of those influencers, the truth. Because y'all be in there harassing them. Oh, why are you doing it? Some of them were just scared into it. Okay. So just letting y'all know. I'll see you later. Bye.